did we last leave off? I believe 2/3 of you were in an elevator.
Different elevators.
Different elevators, yeah.
What are you doing in that elevator?
One of you was in there with a psychotic murderer. The other one was in there with what they assume is an angel. And Maven was just having a friendly chat about computer-controlled, augmented, heat signature recognizing ceiling turrets.
Normal stuff.
So, we're going to pick back up with Praxis. As the elevator doors close and it begins to descend, is there anything you want to take note of, make small talk?
I'll see, firstly, how this elevator works. Is it a key, or is it his card? Or is there any buttons? Or is it just a single destination?
He uses a key card. It lights up literally every floor.
Which button does he press?
This is going to be floor 61.
Okay, so public.
No,
it's 60, isn't it? That's the public.
Yeah.
Oh, 61 is archives. The secret room.
You're like, this
Okay.
This is not good.
I'm sure it's fine.
There's a lot of things that this company keeps records of. I'm going to show you one of the most important ones. He smiles as the elevator dings and it opens up into what is essentially 3 floors in one. As described to Maven, the first part of this floor is a server farm, for lack of a better term. While the 2 floors above it seem to be more of your quintessential library area. As he steps out, he gestures for you to follow, and he begins making his way towards the staircases that lead up to the other 2 levels above.
I will take the attitude of slightly awe-inspired by the nature of it. You get for a room of this size, but I will keep it locked down.
Are we losing him?
We lost bits and pieces there, yes.
Oh.
That being said, make me a perception check.
Great.
You notice very, very quickly that anybody and everybody on this floor, they look at you, they look at him, and then they immediately avert their eyes and pretend like they saw nothing. They don't ever look back. And it is that very telegraphed of, I'm making sure that whatever I'm doing is no longer going to put me within visual range of this person. They are, as you witness them take exceedingly obtuse routes to avoid. As he ascends the final steps, he goes, and this right here, as you crest the top of the stairs, on the, what would be the third floor of this room, as it were. Towards the back is a single pedestal with a very large leather-bound book on it. This is just one of a multi-volume collection, but it is the current one that we are working on. Every single occult matrix and infrastructure that we have touched, learned about, or seen is recorded here. Also, observable outputs from an entity known as the God Machine. And it's at this point I'm gonna need you to make a composure roll. We can do... what would be a good skill to back this up?
Subterfuge.
Yep.
No willpower. One. 8 dice. Oh boy.
Okay. Gonna be one of these days, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's time to cry.
Oh my. Oh my.
Angel. There's an angel. Or a demon.
Couldn't hide it any better than that, could you? He says with somewhat of a smirk on his face.
Perhaps not.
You know, if you were to talk to anybody else in this company, and he begins to start perusing some of the local books, all of them have the same leather-bound look as the one on the pedestal. They would tell you my great-great-grandfather created this company. Some words of him being the prophet of pain, as it were. They get some details right. Other details are exceedingly misconstrued. I don't have a great-great-grandfather. He kind of makes a very grand gesture. I am the prophet of pain. And with that, we're gonna go to Kant.
Bye.
Okay, so if I recall correctly, my embeds did not work.
You recall correctly.
Okay, and as I have hinted at before, we're doubling down and making my presence very much known. This is, as they say in the business, a bad idea. However, I don't care. So, I had hit the elevator. We were going down some random floor. Not important. But what I'm going to do is kind of shimmy my way to the front of the elevator and kind of like stand in front of the door and just be. I know what's going on here. And I know that my methods aren't working.
This woman in the lab coat just kind of raises an eyebrow.
I know that the disease we're dealing with here is not normal.
No, it is not. But, I mean, I would think anybody in this company that knows anything would be able to tell you the same, so I'm failing to see your point.
My point is, I know exactly who's interested in it. What is interested in it?
He sighs somewhat. Literally everybody on the planet that knows anything. Are you on bath salts or something?
I'm gonna.
What to do with this?
I'm gonna. There's still cameras in the elevator, aren't there?
Yes.
Well, I can either continue on camera here, because we both can stop hiding for a second.
Hiding? I have no idea what you mean.
We'll double down. I don't know exactly what your specific purpose is. Given time, I could figure it out. Or we can be polite here, and I can help you.
I'm gonna have to call security, aren't I? You are clearly on some sort of drug. And as you've been making these comments, she has been slowly putting more distance between you and her. So her back's against the back part of the elevator now, since you had superimposed yourself between her and the door.
All right, we'll double down. Again.
How many times are you gonna double down?
We're gonna keep doubling. I just gotta keep doubling. I can't lose the bet if I keep doubling it.
So it's
going exponentially
2,
down.
4, and now we're at 8.
We're at 8. We're turning on Sense the Angelic Demon ability.
Is that a roll?
It is a demon form, so I am activating it.
That's a compromise for one.
Yeah. It is a compromise, however, I fail to see how I can succeed here.
Yeah,
You might get some negatives.
that's an auto failure.
Oh, even. We've never had a failure. What happens?
I lose composure. Not composure. Cover.
So it goes down from cover 10 to cover 9.
think. Of course, because this book doesn't have a table of contents, I have to, like, just scroll until I find the cover section again.
That being said, what does your sense the angelic look like?
Well, if I recall correctly from beginning, it would be... Well, Kant is kind of insectoid in his demonic appearance, so it's the metal kind of wiring, the fibers, I don't remember my insectoid anatomy lore here, and I cannot remember what they're actually called. But, hold on.
Typing in, what are the hairs on a spider called?
Yeah, what are the hairs on a spider called?
Oh, I used to know that. Dang.
Like, because I'm sure they have their... This doesn't help me, Google, thanks.
As you do this, she...
What? How do I pronounce that? Trichothoria, which pick up vibrations in the air. I don't know how to pronounce that. But yes, it's a bunch of small fibers.
Copper, if I remember correctly.
Copper, yeah.
Besides... Is this supposed to impress?
Let's stop lying to each other. I've been running for far too long.
I couldn't care less how long you've been running. I'm not a hunter. I have no desire to be involved in this situation that you find yourself in, honestly.
I am not either. I was logistics. I built. And yet, the methods that I have been attempting to employ with humans have been failing me. They are disappointing me time and time again, with lack of progress. I'm tired of it. I want to do this correctly again.
She pauses and thinks about your words for a moment. There are several hunters on the premises. You know the way.
I've seen this disease with my own eyes. This isn't something that just we are going to fix. As much as I painstakingly hate how humans are not working efficiently enough, this isn't a we problem to fix. This disease knows what we are.
Why do you think our master has deployed so many? Most of these are relatively new on site. We had a couple of hunter angels here from the get-go monitoring things. Be foolish not to. We occasionally turned over others of your kind so they could learn a little bit more. Just so we would have more free roam within their walls. However, the vast majority of us that are now here are new. Of course, I wouldn't expect you to know that, given how things work. What can you provide us that we can't get ourselves?
A different perspective. You don't understand. If this was something that was already planning to be fixed, it already would have been. This disease wouldn't have existed if this was something we could just right away with reality. The fact that it is a problem here and now implies that our methods didn't work. Well, your methods didn't work. And if at any point I need to, I will burn the condition to get bonus kind of thing.
Our methods are what helped keep this thing sealed for as long as it did. As long as it was. There were a group of individuals in times long past that allowed it to be, or that caused it to be sealed. It was, of course, our machinations that caused it to be so. And you do not think that it is not our machinations at this very moment that will lead to its inevitable downfall? As the elevator gets ready to ding on the floor that it was destined to arrive to, she gestures towards it and goes, "Our floor is almost here. This conversation is not going to be prudent upon those doors opening."
Very well. I remain unconvinced that the current method is satisfactory enough. But perhaps I should stop talking now.
You have still given me not an ounce of a reason not to turn you into one of the hunters, however. The elevator dings, and she makes her way to go past you. Will you allow her?
Yeah, I'm not gonna actively burn it. I probably couldn't, even if I wanted to.
As she passes, she goes, "It was a pleasure knowing of your existence, as short as it may be."
I've been here a lot longer than you, likely, and will continue to do so. And I will just flick the elevator back to another random floor to get you away from here.
Maven.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you are watching cameras from the security hub on the upper floors.
Yeah.
Which would eventually include elevator cams.
Makes sense.
You do see Praxis with some very old-looking gentlemen going down floors. You'd be able to see the elevator buttons. You do see that the floor that is illuminated is 61st, which catches your attention. You would also see Kant having a discussion with a woman in a lab coat. I would also say you would probably see the copper wiring become exposed as they continue to have their conversation.
Okay.
A lot of interesting things you're seeing right now.
Yes. I don't know which one of them takes priority. Trying to figure out why they're going to the 61st, what's happening in there. You know, I can't see it. Or trying to cover up this exposure. Is there, likely these are all, recorded and stuff. HD, I'm sure. There's no way to maybe fuzz that camera a little bit. If not...
That would be something. That'd be something you'd have to do after, after a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I potentially use the embed to do interference? Because theoretically, I would have after that scene would have concluded. So I might just flick off the camera. Not flick off the camera, but it might get fuzzy anyways.
That would be after the conversation because you wouldn't have used it during the conversation.
Yeah, but if he's actively... Never mind. You know what I mean.
If you want to use the embed, go ahead. As stated, it will not stop what Maven saw during the conversation.
No, but it might help him put his mind at ease very slightly.
So that you're at least thinking about your actions after the fact.
Yes.
Okay,
Let's see if this works.
It does.
Okay, yes, and I'm now at 6, like I did. So, yeah. Interference,
So the camera goes fuzzy, you know, so your standard static as if there's some sort of electrical interference.
yeah, and it throws off angels looking for me.
Okay. Did the other person in this room with me take notice of either the start, or is he just now taking notice of the fuzz?
See, now, I believe I need to clarify something. You have your own computer monitor that you're flicking through cameras on. He has his own computer monitor, so...
I see.
Unless you specifically draw his attention to your monitor, such as talking about a turret or something like that.
Okay, I misunderstood the visuals.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. That makes it easier. Okay. Then in that case, did he give any sign that he might have noticed anything off? Without actually mentioning, I'm just gonna glance. Is he squinting, or is he gonna mention anything?
Give me a... Would this be perception? Yeah, we'll just do perception.
Okay. One success.
If he noticed anything going wrong with your computer screen, he gives no sign of it. He does look like he's busy, you know. He looks to be mostly looking at the 60th floor where all the public is, which makes some logical sense that would require probably the most time to look through.
Yeah, it's the most condensed floor, would think, as far as people. Okay, in that case, I'll make a mental note to see if I can take care of the pre-fuzz on this at some point in the day. And, well, I can't exactly follow into the 61st floor. So, what is this? Oh, that's that. But I am very curious to see what's going on this, what he's doing on the 61st floor.
Okay, so it's the scene forgets the character.
Yeah, it's actually 2 embeds, one to throw angels off, one to actually remove the evidence of me being there.
Okay.
Oh,
You
I
would have
see.
seen it live, but it automatically will now go back and get corrupted, essentially.
I'll notice that when I go back and try and corrupt it myself. It's already done. Oh, look at that. Okay. Well, it's kind of boring in a security monitor room. there's really not much to do other than watch the TV. So, until something else grabs Maven's attention, there's really not much else he can do from here until someone relieves him of duty.
Which is a fine place now that Maven has a few things to be somewhat concerned about. We'll go ahead and focus on Praxis again.
Okay, what's Singe saying?
He has made some sort of grandiose gesture after saying that he is the prophet of pain.
Do I know anything about this prophet of pain?
Oh, what would you know here? Deva Corp. No, I just put in Deva. Deva Corporation. You would obviously have done your research on Deva Corp before planning on infiltrating it.
I'd like to think so.
Founded in India by the family of Marco Singe. When the Pain Prophet of New Delhi was only a child, the Deva Corporation began as a cult and has grown into a massive conglomerate that you see it today.
Okay. And the prophet of pain?
The when the Pain Prophet of New Delhi was a child. So you would know that if he's claiming to be the Prophet of Pain, Pain Prophet, two names for the exact same individual here, this would be Marco Singe himself. Now you know that originally this was just a cult in New Delhi that that rose to the station that it is.
You call yourself the prophet of pain?
Yes, one of a few names I have given myself, as it were.
I take it from your reaction that you already know what I am.
I had my suspicions. Occasionally we get individuals such as yourself here. We get other individuals here as well. Sometimes by choice, sometimes not by choice. Just depends on the situation. I also know that the other side that you face spy against you here. It's a whole maelstrom of different moving parts here.
And despite your suspicions, you decided it prudent to bring this one into your employ, so to speak.
I'm not personally involved with the hiring process. I did not become aware of your existence until you just confirmed it, honestly. I had suspicions, of course, but, you know, suspicions are just that.
Then I pose you the question, what do we both have to gain?
Well, my company is always looking for test subjects for various projects. What we would really want is an actual angel, but they become somewhat hard to, pin down. So we generally make do with your kind, as it were.
If you believe that you can control angels, then you are more misguided than I was led to believe initially. They do not serve at the whims of a company at the behest of individuals. They serve one and one alone.
Yes, but as I've just explained to you, and he pulls out one of the leather-bound books. We can create our own infrastructure here. We know occult matrices. We can certainly subvert control, if not completely wrest it away. In limited quantities, yes. Not anything on the mass scale. We don't have, quite frankly, the luxury of time at this moment. It was a longer-term project, but with things as they are.
Meta question. From his perspective of creating infrastructure, is that fundamentally just an extension of the God Machine and working to its own agenda anyway?
Okay, so meta question I have to answer, obviously, with the book here.
Yeah.
Several research divisions focus on expanding a manual, an immense multi-volume catalog of everything they know about existing infrastructure, occult matrices, as well as observed outputs of the God Machine's projects. Some scientists of New Mason architecture claim to have learned enough of the occult physics to build their own crude infrastructure, so it's not necessarily stated, but with the idea that it's their own crude infrastructure, that leads me to believe it's probably not tied into the God Machine, otherwise the God Machine would update it.
Okay. No, I just wondered if it was part of its grand plan.
So it's crude infrastructure, which means that it probably is completely human-made and human-maintained.
So, back to it. So you wish for insights into infrastructure. I see.
At least in part. We can only learn so much by vivisecting your kind, though. And honestly, the same old methods get boring. I am aware of several angels supposedly here. Some of them are exceedingly powerful. I know of at least 2 hunters and 1 forgive me, it has been a long time since I was in the fold. I don't remember what they're called. Been too long. Researcher types, though. They like to fiddle with things.
Do you mean stigmatics? Or...
No.
Okay.
He did specifically refer to hunter angels, though, so he probably is referring to one of the, they're called incarnations, right? Yeah, incarnation.
Yeah.
Agendas
I know what he said. Yes. I will remain quiet, but kind of knowing what he means. And you would be prepared to share these identities.
I mean, they're all... Pulls out another volume. right here. See, one of the observable things is we know that when an angel takes cover, history rewrites itself. He pulls the book open, shows you a list underneath a date. It's your hiring date. It lists every single person hired. Now see, the interesting thing about this, he closes the book, is sometimes when I know we don't have a hiring campaign go on, he flips the book that's already sitting on the podium, he moves to it, flips a few pages. You can see new employee right here. Now, if you also look at this book, no hiring procedures. There are always tiny little discrepancies when reality is rewritten. We can't track it. Your kind, my kind, probably not even ones still plugged in. And these little discrepancies show up in these books. And he leaves the page open for you to look at the name of the employee.
I will get that.
The name is Kyra McNeil. From everything that you can kind of glean from the page, she seems to be some sort of researcher with pretty high-level research access.
Okay. The question remains, is this the start of a bountiful and beneficial relationship, or an inevitable end?
Well, you did kind of say it yourself, didn't you? An inevitable end. We all have an inevitable end. Sadly, with the reports I'm getting, that's what, only a couple of floors above us?
What's he referring to?
As you kind of look at the page, this book seems to also detail keycards that were given. This person, this Kyra... Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Few floors below us. Let's just retcon what he said there. Specifically has access, and this person specifically has access to the 41st through the 45th floors, which are known as high security research labs. Those labs right now are all being used to study the sample that was brought.
My next question. On the matter and nature of your latest acquisition.
Still processing. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure, outside of knowing that it's a disease, I have a feeling that even the big thing upstairs is still processing.
And so we return to the ultimatum. This could be the potential and the opportunity to work together. Human and machine.
Pauses at the human and machine part. What do you think I am exactly?
Judging by past events, I will relay the information I know to be of Marcus. What was it?
Marco Singe.
Marco Singe, yeah. The cult details about the.
It's also very old by now.
Exceedingly old. I mean, that is not wrong. I am that person. I am also very much not human, though. I am not unlike you, yet unlike you. We were cut from the same cloth, as it were. But there are differences between you and I.
Those differences could be put aside for them.
I believe that's what we are
Potential
doing here right now. Are we not?
I hope so.
So, I feel like I've shared quite a bit with you here. What are you willing to share in return?
I ask questions that I wish to have answers to. I would offer the same.
I'm not sure I would have any questions that you would ever have the answers to.
In that case, what would you want?
Well, there we go. That's something I can work with. As... oh, what's the term? You fallen ones, you unchained, have given my kind. Oh, yes. You so lovingly called us exiles. Angels that were created but not given a purpose. Left to our own devices. Mine has always been the cataloging and collection of information about the God Machine itself. What I would want is either another one such as yourself, or an angel brought to the lab. I want to see what this thing will actually do. Choice is yours. Your card will be updated, as I had stated, with the addendum of having access to one of the lab floors. That lab floor contains a sample. Well, not at this very moment. That would be ridiculous, having an empty floor with just a sample sitting out there for anybody to touch. However, a sample can be brought to that floor very quickly. I hope you catch my meaning. Bring the selected individual to that floor, and we will see what sort of occult matrices are formed, or what output is formed.
And it's an agreement. I trust that we are both in a position to keep secrecy of such matters. Of natures.
He lifts up his pistol and he goes, "You think anybody's willing to cross me? People don't even look at me. There's a reason."
I believe we have an agreement.
Excellent. The sooner, the better. If you wish, you have run of the floor for now. Just the only thing I ask, nothing leaves the floor. You can spend whatever time you want here, learning what you want about any manner of subject. Just as long as nothing leaves this floor. And he turns and begins to walk away.
I'll readopt the manners of Dash, and give him a moment, and then begin to look through the book on the pedestal, see what I can find.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Demon the Descent, Frayed Wires, part of the Domain Gaming's Contagion anthology, written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, what does one do if the slaver is the key to one's survival?